Ladies and gentlemen, Barry C here with another cryptocurrency video, and XRP is ready to skyrocket. The alt season is very, very close. Now, I hope each and every one of you listening has had a plan and has used the downtime that we've had, the mini bear market between bull runs, use that time to the best of each and every one of our abilities. Whether it was accumulating, whether it was holding, we took advantage of that opportunity. Now, for me personally, it was spent accumulating. And the reason why I've been focusing on accumulating and focusing on doing everything I can to put myself in the best position possible for when the alt season takes off is I've sort of looked back at when I first got into crypto, and I look at 2016, 2017. And I look at some of the cryptos that I was accumulating back then. Now, you can go back and have a look at Bitcoin, look at Ethereum, look at XRP, and you can see prices that anybody would go back in time for the ability and the opportunity to accumulate at. Like those prices, everybody would say, absolutely, they would go back and take advantage of those. Back in 2016, when Bitcoin was trading at around $330 a coin, nobody was talking about a $100,000 Bitcoin back then. When we moved into 2017 and when Ethereum first got listed on exchanges, it was $10 a coin. Nobody was talking about a $2,000 Ethereum. When XRP was listed at 0.006 cents a coin, so less than 1 cent per XRP, nobody was talking about $3, $3.80. And you can look at cryptos like Solana, Litecoin, Chainlink, any crypto that had a massive rally heading into 2020 and 2021. And the main thing that all these cryptos have in common, and the majority of cryptos that have done well have in common, is that it's always after the fact, when we see these cryptos rally hard, that people look at them and they look at the prices and they go, well, yeah, of course these are great projects. Absolutely. Bitcoin at $100,000, amazing. Ethereum, $2,000, great. Chainlink, $50, amazing. Solana, $200, amazing. Because people equate the value of the crypto to the price it's worth. They don't look at when it was first being listed and what the potential of the crypto was and what it's working towards, what it's building towards, how it will be utilized. And so when people look at XRP, for example, and they say things like, well, there's no way XRP could ever be $20 or $100 or $1,000. To me, that shows very clearly that these people haven't been in crypto long enough to understand how the crypto market grows and evolves and matures quite rapidly. For me, like I said, being in crypto since 2016, when I'm seeing Bitcoin at less than $500 a coin, and sitting there in 2016 and thinking, well, that seemed quite expensive back then to pay, let's say $500 for one crypto. You're getting one Bitcoin instead of maybe paying $500 and getting a couple hundred Litecoin. Like, these are the type of discussions that you would have and the plans that you would make and go, okay, well, do I want to buy one Bitcoin or do I want to buy a couple of hundred Litecoin? And then in 2017, you start having these decisions. You go, okay, I can, if I spend, let's say, $500 on XRP when it's less than 1 cent of a coin, that's remarkable. You spend $500 on Ethereum when it's $10 a coin. Like, these are the type of exciting opportunities that come along where you see these cryptos that stand out, but they're also really cheap. And of course, back then, nobody's talking about where these cryptos could go. And then you look at 2025 and you go, well, so many people are used to seeing expensive Bitcoin. So many people are used to seeing expensive Ethereum, but XRP hasn't gone that way yet. Yes, it's come a very long way from being less than 1 cent a coin to now, where it's sitting very comfortably above $2. I mean, that's a remarkable return on an initial investment. But then when people say, well, XRP couldn't possibly go higher, it's like, well, so many other cryptos have achieved that. So why not XRP? And I've mentioned this in previous videos that there's always a reason to hate on XRP. Every year that's gone by, there's been a reason why people say, don't buy XRP. Back in 2017, it was, well, don't buy it because it's a banker's coin. Because XRP wants to work with the banks and financial institutions around the world. It sounds silly to hear that in 2025, but that was the main FUD leveled against XRP back then. In 2018, 2019, when Ripple was talking about XRP adopting and utilizing real world assets. And then the main thing people were saying back then was, well, why would you want to send gold or silver on a blockchain? Why would you want to send like the deed of a house? Why would you want to send like a contract between people for a job? Like, why would you want to tokenize that and send it on the blockchain? That seemed really silly. You talk about real world assets right now in 2025, and it's one of the hot topics. It's the reason why people like projects like Ondo, for example. And it's really interesting that it's not about timing the best entry point into the market. It's about having time in the market. About trusting your gut when you see a project that's really unique. Maybe you don't have all the information at the time of accumulating. And this isn't financial advice, but this is something that I've done and something I've seen play out over and over again. And ladies and gents, this is something that I've seen every bull run and from just being in crypto for this long, especially when it comes to XRP. Because so many people have been behind the eight ball when it comes to crypto, and it's about being 2 steps behind and playing catch up, especially for those of us who have been in crypto early on. Back in the day, there was nobody talking about where the prices sit right now. And yes, from 2016 until now, it's 9 years in the market. And yes, it could take that long to see really life-changing prices. And look, I don't think XRP is going to take another 9 years to absolutely go parabolic, but it's going to take some time. And look, let's be really honest about the whole situation. We've never seen a time in crypto where there hasn't been a bull run, and we've never seen a bull run play out without an alt season. And so we're absolutely still owed an alt season. And whether that happens in the next couple of months or whether we see something very similar to 2017 and 2018, where maybe we see the alt season play out this year from September into February next year, it may be a direct replica of the second half of 2017. That's a real possibility. And the reason why I'm talking about the historic nature of prices when it comes to cryptos is, could you imagine if people had made determinations back in 2017 or 2018 and sold prematurely instead of holding and seeing where the market plays out and seeing the type of prices that we're seeing today? And the unfortunate thing is a lot of people did that. A lot of people bought in 2016, 2017. And then when we saw the first bull run of consequence and the first alt season from the end of 2017 into 2018, people were taking massive amounts of profits. And look, a lot of people did really well. And yes, if they had waited and they had held on and they had a more long-term outlook and a long-term plan, then absolutely there would have been a lot more money to be made 2024 heading into 2025. And not everybody plays it perfectly. But there's something to be said about going back and looking at the historic charts and having a really common sense discussion about where the market has started from and where it's going. And that's why I'm so bullish on XRP, because I was there when it was first listed. I could see the value of XRP when it was less than 1 cent a coin. It was the first finance-based crypto ever listed. It is the number one crypto in finance. It's been that way since 2017, and it's been that way up until now, 2025. And it will continue to do so. And in all that time, we have never seen another crypto that has the potential of an alt season rally, and a utility run, the way XRP does. No other crypto has that, or even comes close to that. And so when people sit here and go, well, there's no way XRP could do anything price-wise, this is the exact same conversations I've heard over the years. And you know what? The majority of cryptos that people now look as viable and, must-haves, I say that in quotations, like must-have for portfolios, these are projects back in the day when they were first listed that nobody really either had interest in or didn't see the potential of, or some people outright said, don't even accumulate it, it's not worth it. Back when Ethereum was first being listed in 2017, people didn't want to touch it because why would you buy a different crypto other than Bitcoin? Nobody wanted to buy Ethereum. Well, very few. That was the prevailing narrative. Why would you want to do something different to Bitcoin? It was the same thing with XRP. Why would you pick a crypto that didn't want to be decentralized? Why would you want to pick a crypto that wanted to actually work with the banks and financial institutions? Just pick Bitcoin. And then as the years progressed and as people started seeing value in altcoins, especially after 2018, when people saw this massive altcoin boom and rally and they dubbed it the alt season, that's when people went, well, I'm not going to pay thousands of dollars for one Bitcoin. I can spend thousands of dollars and build altcoin portfolios that, if we see another bull run, could make life-changing money. And that's exactly what we're going to see with XRP. And yeah, XRP is worth about $2 right now. That is insanely cheap for the number one crypto in finance. For me, when I look at XRP right now at $2, I'm reminded of Bitcoin back in 2016. I'm reminded of Ethereum back in 2017. I'm reminded of Solana back when it was $2 a coin, or Chainlink when it was 38 cents. There's so many examples of cryptos that you can get into early enough that when they rally hard, they're life-changing opportunities. And XRP will absolutely be the same way. And that's what time in the market teaches you. Because it's really easy to sit there and go, well, it's the number one crypto in finance. And you see other cryptos start doing well and XRP isn't moving. And so people go, well, I want to be part of the cryptos that boom. It's like, well, if you give it time, you're going to see XRP do exceptionally well, especially because the financial space is one of the few areas left that hasn't adopted blockchain technology. Yes, banks and financial institutions have trialed XRP, but no banks have come out on the record and announced that they're utilizing blockchain and cryptocurrency, and they haven't announced that they're utilizing XRP. It's just going to take one bank to make that announcement, and then you're going to see a utility run for XRP. And here's the thing, most cryptos, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Chainlink, whatever it may be, these are all cryptos that are essentially tied to a 4-year cycle. When the XRP utility run happens, that's going to be something entirely separate to an alt season rally 4-year cycle of a bull run, bear market, Bitcoin halving, and so on and so forth. And that's where it gets exceptionally exciting, because not only do we have the potential of seeing amazing price action for XRP in the up and coming alt season, but when we see that separate utility run, when banks and financial institutions announce that they are adopting XRP, that's when XRP is going to break away from that 4-year cycle, and it's going to do a rally on its own. And look, that utility run rally for XRP will absolutely bring other cryptos with it. Other cryptos within that realm, within that sort of partnership with Ripple and XRP. It wouldn't surprise me if you see XLM, XDC, HBAR, Ondo all rally as well. Because we haven't seen finance-based cryptos yet have that volatility that is life-changing. Unless you accumulated XRP at less than 1 cent a coin. And once again, it's all about timing. It's about time. It's about having that patience and that fortitude to hold no matter what. And it doesn't matter about what people are saying in a negative way. It doesn't matter about what people may be overhyping in an overly positive way. If you focus on the reason why XRP stood out to you in the first place, and if you have a plan. This is why I talk about having a plan, short-term, mid-term, long-term. You're looking at short-term price action, mid-term, and long-term as well. And I've had this for every crypto I hold. So even back in 2016, when I was first buying Bitcoin, I was looking at it and going, okay, well, how high could this possibly go, and where would I consider selling and taking profits? And I did the same thing when I got to 2017. I did the same thing in 2018, especially when the bear market hits and you haven't taken any profit and you've never seen a bear market before. And now you have to rapidly reassess where you're going. And so for me, it's been a really long, crazy, strange, fun, euphoric journey, but I've always had the foundation of a plan. And that's why I have that realistic common sense approach to XRP, where it's like, well, I can see how it could easily hit $10 or $20 in an alt season, And I can see how it can hit $100 or $1,000 or maybe even more when we start talking utility run, which means realistically, I need to have a plan that encompasses the next couple of months, the next year, the next 2 to 3 years, and the next 5 to 10 years. Now, I'm not saying that's set in stone. It's my foundation that I can work off so that I'm putting myself in the best position possible so I can actually make some life-changing profits, whether it's more immediate, whether it's the next couple of years, whether it's 10 years down the line. I have that rough plan in place so I'm in the best position possible to make amazing profits with XRP. Now, as I said, ladies and gents, none of this is financial advice. It's just my experience being in crypto since 2016, and I'm sharing all these mindset ideas and these concepts and plans because I want each and every one of you listening to actually find success with crypto, especially when it comes to holding a crypto like XRP, because I think that has the potential above all other cryptos to be not only a wealth building opportunity, but actually building generational wealth for everyone's immediate family, kids, grandkids, and something that can be passed down for generations to come. Now, ladies and gents, as I said, none of this is financial advice. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And if you're curious about the other cryptos I hold outside of XRP, consider becoming a Patreon. Click the link in the description below, head across to my Patreon page, and consider becoming a Barry C VIP. There you'll have access to all the other cryptos I hold, as well as my buy, sell, and take profit signals in real time.